Welcome to the Free State Q&A, where the experts of New Hampshire are brought to you to answer your questions about what's going on in New Hampshire with crypto, housing, jobs, homeschooling, and any other questions you may have. On the last episode, Carla and Vince answered your questions about the Free State Project. In this episode, we're doing the Welcome Wagon, where we greet you when you arrive and help you get settled in. My name's Curt. This is Mark Warden of Porcupine Real Estate.
Curt,
Please.
good to be with you today, and you're
happy to be here.
the pro at the Welcome Wagon, so we're looking forward to answering people's questions and hearing some fun stories about people that have moved here with the Free State Project.
Definitely. It's been a lot of fun meeting new people as they come here, finding out what their priorities are, find out why they're coming. Liberty is unique, the individual, all kinds of different people. That's the funnest thing to me, is meeting new people.
Absolutely. I think one thing we want to remind people today is that we are live on YouTube, as well as Facebook, Odyssey, and Float. So wherever you're tuning in, we appreciate you watching.
I had never heard of Float before. This is brand new to me. When you're ready to move to New Hampshire, we have the telephone number of 603-263-0308, email welcome@fsp.org, and Chris, God, I've lost the last name again. How can I lose Chris's? Lopez. Good grief. Chris Lopez will be very happy to get things arranged and set up for you before you arrive so that things are as easy as possible. In fact, we've had everywhere from 2 to 60 people show up to a meet just to move people in. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, let's explain to the viewers exactly what we mean by the Welcome Wagon.
When a new mover comes to New Hampshire, they can show up in the U-Haul van, have no idea what's going on. They get here, they're tired, they're exhausted, they don't want to unload the blasted truck. So me, Mark, half a dozen other people will show up and unload the truck and make sure that they get settled in as easily as possible. And that's the idea, to make it as easy as possible, to less stress. And we do that with the expectation of bribes.
we consider ourselves volunteers, but
no.
we also can be bribed.
Oh, bribes. What, pizza? Pizza, beer, cider, soda, all good stuff. Whatever, well, the better the pizza, the better the beer, the better the unloading goes.
Yeah, this really is a wonderful Free State Project tradition. It's a fantastic way to welcome people to our community and be able to answer a lot of their questions all at once. People are brand new to the neighborhood,
Yes.
brand new to the city, in most cases new to the state. Some of them have never even visited before. They just show up. And here we have a volunteer group of activists, community members who welcome them with open arms, as well as help them unload the truck. So it's really a really nice first impression by the Free State Project movers. And of course, we as volunteers love doing it as well.
Definitely. It's wonderful to be able to meet the people and let them know that they're not alone. I've moved a dozen times in my life, and going to a new place, the hardest thing about it is not knowing anybody. I don't know where to begin.
And especially if you don't know people here, if you're coming to a brand new group of friends and a circle of peers, it's nice to be able to also network and connect with others that may have like interests.
Yes.
So during the Welcome Wagon move-in party, we encourage the new arrivers to let us know what their particular areas of interest are, whether it's homeschooling or guns or taxes or politics or 100 other things. So we've had a couple people involved in fiber arts, whatever that is. And the idea is that we can crowdsource a lot of information.
Yes.
And do some professional and personal networking with these new arrivers, so they can also plug right into the community and feel like they're part of a group.
Yes. The community matters. Community matters.
That's a great saying.
It is the most important thing about the whole Free State idea, is bringing people together. And this is really the first step in bringing people together, is saying to welcome, come in, we're here, you're here, let's start the conversation. Let's see what we can build together.
To give the viewers today a bit of background and perspective, we'll introduce each other, but why don't you tell me, when you moved, where you're from, and how it's been going so far?
I moved in 2011. I didn't really know I was going to move until about a month before I did. I moved myself, me and my 8-foot travel trailer, 3 trips from North Carolina, and hit a deer on the way here. So unfortunately, I was not mover 901. I ended up being mover 902 because I hit a deer and had to stop in Vermont to get the car
Wow,
fixed.
that's memorable.
And so I didn't know anybody. The Welcome Wagon had not yet been established. So when I got here, I got a room to rent on Craigslist, and then started plugging in with people, because being online, of course, which is, even then, it was the necessity to even know about the project.
It's hard to remember what it was like in the early days. It's been so long now, and things have changed so much.
The Free State Project message board was it.
Yeah, these online forums, and when I moved here, there were only 200 or 300 that had moved previously. So, luckily, I did have some people help me with the move-in party. Sort of strangers showed up, and I had 5 or 6 people help me unload, and it was fantastic. I came from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I wasn't used to seeing so many libertarians at one place at one time. And in a city of 1 million people in Las Vegas, we were lucky to get 15 or 20 libertarians together. And here we have that on an average Tuesday night in a small city for burgers and beers.
How many? 60 people last week, was it? Or
Yeah.
the week before last?
Yeah, we're talking about the weekly Taproom Tuesday, every Tuesday for now 13, 14 years, when people have been meeting at a local tavern here in Manchester.
Yep.
And it's a town of only 120,000 people, but yet we can get 50 or 60 people to show up on a Tuesday night.
They were a bit overwhelmed, actually. 60 people on a Tuesday night was not expected.
So we encourage people that are moving here to sign up for the Welcome Wagon move-in party. All we do is ask them to provide some food, snacks. I mean, we say pizza and beer, but certainly it could be sub sandwiches or cider. I know you're a fan of the hard cider.
Not a beer person.
So provide something to eat, something to drink, soft drinks, water, especially in the heat of the summer, bottles of water, and the volunteers are more than happy to help you unload. In fact, in some cases, you might even be coming with a professional mover, and that's still great. We'll still show up, help you point out the movers where to go, which rooms to drop stuff off, and we'll just have some fellowship and talk about the libertarianism, whatever else you want to talk about, while they're doing all the work. So it's still fine, even if you're working with a professional relocation company, to have this welcome wagon party. We'd love to participate.
I moved myself, just myself. I actually interviewed on the road by phone with the company I'm still working for. But you brought your business with you.
Yes, I did. I'm in the real estate business, and I was doing that out in Las Vegas. Came out to New Hampshire in 2007, and didn't know a soul other than a few Free Staters who helped me move in and some that I had met online. But after being here a while, I just started to ramp back up the real estate business and just specialize in working with Free State Project participants and libertarians, if you will, small government, pro-liberty, pro-gun, pro-freedom type of folks, and that's sort of built my business around that.
It's been fun helping your clients move in, actually.
Yeah, that's right. We always offer the Welcome Wagon move-in party.
You also tell them about it ahead of time, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
How would you like 20 people to show up and help you move in?
Yeah. So why don't you tell us, Curt, about, we'll both share these stories, but what about some memorable move-in parties or some unique situations that we've worked with?
The very first person I helped move in, a guy by the name of Stu. He's living up in the North Country now. He moved up to Berlin. He's running a business. He's doing well. Because the Welcome Wagon had not yet been established, the only way I knew about it is he announced it, I think, on Facebook, help. And he offered a silver ounce to anyone who came to help him move in. Well, I was the only one who showed up. Well, Welcome Wagon hadn't been established yet. We didn't know the need. And when, I think it was a month later, I moved into my apartment out of the room that I'd been renting, and he helped me move the washer and dryer up the stairs because it was the only thing I couldn't carry. And I gave him his silver round back. So it was trade and in kind.
Exchanging value
Exchanging value for value. And we've been doing the same sort of thing ever since. He'll bring a silver round with him when he needs something. And then the next chance I get, I'll hand it back. And that sense of camaraderie, the community. Yeah, community matters. It really does. And it's nice to know people that are not just in agreement. It's not really a matter of agreement. We have the issues. Yes, we agree on issues, but we are participating together in something that's bigger than any one of us. And that's wonderful.
Absolutely. And though you guys exchanged silver rounds, we want to be clear that this is totally voluntary. The people that show up do this out of love and out of a sense of community. And we've all moved here from somewhere else. We know how tough it is to move to be a stranger in a strange land.
Yes.
And we're there to welcome you with open arms. I'm thinking of one of the memorable move-in parties I went to. And you know the person, she came riding in this truck. And it was like a low rider. It was a long U-Haul, but it was a low rider. The back of the truck was almost dragging the ground. We wondered what the heck was in this truck. Was she hauling bricks? So after we unloaded the fluffy stuff in the at the back of the truck, then we noticed all the cases of ammo. She must have had 20,000 plus rounds of .223 and 9mm.
Guns are a common interest amongst Free State type people.
So I think she had to provide really good pizza and really good beer because that was some heavy lifting we did that day.
If I remember correctly, she's also the only person I have ever voted for who won the election. I had a rep. I don't now, but into 2012, I had a rep in the State House because that was Emily. And she got elected, and I was very happy to vote for her. The ones since have not quite so inspiring.
Let's remind the viewers out there on Odyssey, Facebook, YouTube, and Float that you can write in your comments in the section below, and we'll read those off. Happy to answer your questions. This is really about giving you more information about the Welcome Wagon program here in New Hampshire with Free State Project. And we'd certainly like to address those as best we can.
Yes,
that's what
please.
we're here for. We're here for you.
We are here to answer your questions, not just the ones we could think of.
Yeah. And then how often do we have these welcome parties? How many times per day, per week, per month? What's been your experience?
It has been incredibly variable. There have been a couple of weeks where it's 2 people in a week. Mm-hmm. There have been months between, of course, all weather. There have been some very cold move-ins, sub-zero move-ins. That's one. They go very quickly. People want those finished as fast as possible.
Let's talk about the weather. If you move from out west, I think we both did.
Yeah.
It's a big change here, December through March, and you can expect snow, not every day, but it's very common.
Yes.
And some people don't have that kind of choice when they're relocating.
True.
And they just have to move during the winter. So we know what we're doing here. We've lived here a while, so we'll come prepared with sometimes a runner, or we put down paper to not drag all the snow into the house. Sometimes we'll have to get there in advance with some salt or sand, so it's not so slippery walking in the house.
During a couple of rainstorms, what we've done is had people inside take the packages in, so that we weren't walking in and out the whole time, tracking in water and mud and sand and dirt and crud.
What are some of the hardest, most difficult things you've seen for a move to load, unload, and bring up the stairs?
Stairs. Please, why do people move into the 3rd floor over and over again? It's always the 3rd floor. Pianos.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason there are professional piano movers. These are healthy young people who are very strong and have the pianos are heavy, and they're a little bit fragile, actually. Legs
Oh, sure.
on pianos do occasionally break, and you need to be careful with them. So pianos were the worst. Treadmills,
Uh-huh.
exercise equipment, treadmills.
The worst thing I've ever had to move was a sofa bed. You know, it's a sofa, but it folds out.
Yes.
It has the metal frame, the
Oh, the
spring,
metal
super
frames.
heavy, and they don't bend well, so
Oh,
they don't go around corners. So we encourage you, when preparing to move to New Hampshire, get rid of all the big stuff.
Or at least take an opportunity. You have an opportunity here not just to make a change in location, but to make a change in your life, to find the things that you really don't want anymore. Libertarians, liberty people tend to collect books. Boxes and boxes and boxes of books. Books are heavy. Are you going to read that book again, ever? Or do you just have it to have on the shelf to dust every few years? That's not to say I don't have books. I have a couple boxes of books that I haven't unpacked since 2000. But that is, I moved myself, so I figured I didn't burden anybody else with my books. But I can tell a box of books because it will be very heavy.
Back to your note about the piano.
Yes.
You should just disclose we're not professional movers.
No.
We're volunteers.
We're volunteers.
And
yes.
usually only one out of the 5 or 10 or 15 of us is very strong. So if you have a piano and you cherish it, please use a professional piano mover.
That is a good
Same
reason.
thing with expensive furniture.
Yes.
But
Speaking of expensive furniture, I've got another one for you.
okay.
8 foot tall, 5 feet wide, gold embossed frame around a huge glass, silver-backed antique mirror. I swear it weighed as much as a piano. This thing was amazing, and truly beautiful piece of furniture. But moving that, it's a miracle. It's a huge piece of glass.
Sure.
I've seen glass tabletops that weren't as heavy. And glass tabletops, those are heavy.
Well, so you mentioned sometimes we have a couple movers a week. Sometimes we only see 2 a month.
Yes.
Certainly there are hundreds and hundreds of people moving to New Hampshire because of the Free State Project.
Yes.
Every year. But of course, most don't reach out. Some of them don't know about the Welcome Wagon until today. And some have professional movers, and some just want to handle it themselves. But we probably will see 20, 30 a year that
Yeah.
people let us know about, invite us over. And it's always a good time. It's always a great piece of fellowship.
It is. It's a situation where there is something that needs to be done.
Then how many volunteers typically show up for a move-in party?
Well, as I said, I've been the only one on several occasions. That's fine. I'm usually the first one, but I'm certainly not the only one. People will come in. There have been mostly 6 to 8 people. We've taken care of 30-foot U-Haul, the big U-Haul trucks. We've gotten those done in like 45 minutes. Just taking them off.
Yeah, people will be amazed. When you have 6 or 7 people helping you unload a truck, it goes extremely fast.
Yes.
Often we're waiting on you to tell us which room to go to because we have this sort of a bucket brigade line of people unloading. What's the best attended or largest move-in party you've seen?
There's no question about that. The biggest move was Jason Soren's.
Jason Soren's the founder of Free State
Soren's,
Project.
the man
concept.
who wrote the essay that got us in this trouble in the first place. He, when he moved his family to New Hampshire, he had a small U-Haul truck and 60 people. It took 30 seconds to unload the truck. Actually, it took longer than that because he wasn't on the first floor. He was up on the 3rd floor, just like everybody else, but he had an elevator. So we had someone hold the door, we moved the elevator's worth of stuff at a time. So it wasn't an instantaneous move, but it was the best attended. Out behind the apartment building, there were already people with the grill and the steaks and the corn on the cob setting up the party, and it's a good 3-hour party welcoming the Sorens to New Hampshire. That was good. I don't know who thought of setting up the grill. I have no idea because I was just there to unload the truck. But whoever thought of it, thank you. whoever you may be, that was a great way to not just greet the Sorens, but also to bring people together who I don't see very often. I don't see you every day.
That's right.
We
That one was an hour away, I think.
Yeah, it was up in
from Manchester, up in the
Dartmouth.
Upper Valley somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, we can't guarantee a certain turnout.
Nope.
A lot of it depends on the day of the week, time of day. I think generally weekends are a little bit better to get more people to turn out.
Yes.
Just because a lot of people are working stiffs and they're at home 8 to 5. So if you want to increase your chances of having a good turnout, Saturday or Sunday is it's probably the best. It also helps if you know in advance the exact time, which is tough to pinpoint if you're waiting on one of the big van lines to come in, and sometimes they get delayed, sometimes they run into traffic or weather.
That's where
So-
moving yourself is actually a benefit, because you know where you are, unlike the truck.
Are there, other than these big van line companies, are there other methods that you've seen have worked pretty well?
But the best way that I've seen is the pod.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've heard of them. You rent the back of a truck, they drop it off, you load it yourself, close the doors, lock them, and say, I would like this to arrive on Tuesday the 3rd at this address. And then the pod company comes and gets it, moves it, and delivers them. Show up for a move. Out in the street in front of the apartment building are 2 pods ready to be unloaded. Very easy, very clean, no stress. If they deliver at the time and date you expect them to. Of course, there has been one of those where they didn't show up on time, but that was outside of the purview of the Welcome Wagon. We can't control other people's businesses.
And we've seen sometimes where people just show up on a day where there's a ton of other stuff going on.
Yes.
Imagine arriving during Pork Fest week or Porcupine Freedom Festival.
And
By the
that-
way, www.porkfest.com. But if you arrive during the week of Porcupine Freedom Festival, there aren't going to be as many people around to help you move in, because they're all going to be up at Rogers Campground in Lancaster.
Which is the perfect reason to contact welcome at ffsp.org in order to be able to discuss it with someone who knows what's going on and say, this date. And then they can say, that date's a bad day. Like Pork Fest or something like that.
A couple of the tricks of the trade we've learned over the years doing this. If you live if you're moving into, let's say, a congested area of town, such as West Manchester,
Yes.
Where there's not a lot of parking available, for example, especially if you're in a multi-unit building, you don't have your own driveway. Well, you need to park your truck right out front. So often we'll get people the night before, to park there and reserve that space on the curb.
Yes.
And then when you finally arrive, we take off and you park the truck there. So that's a little pro tip we've learned over the years.
True. When I moved, I did it in 3 trips. I loaded my little utility trailer and put the stuff in storage. I got a storage unit ahead of time. And that way it was absolutely no stress. Just unload what I could carry at the time. Having a storage unit allowed me to get a room instead of worrying about finding a full apartment right away or a house. People complain about housing in New Hampshire, that it's a bit tight. Depends on what you're looking for. Depends on the region.
Sure.
New Hampshire is a great variety of places. We have the Free Coast, which is very, snobby's not the right word. It's the Portland of the East. It's kind of, give me a good word.
I don't know. It's different. We
Artsy.
joke. It's called the Seacoast region. For
Yes.
those of you who are new to New Hampshire, we have several regions around the state. Seacoast would obviously be along the coast and then inland a little bit. And it does have a different feel,
It does.
not only geographically, but also culturally.
Yes.
Culturally. Part of that's because you have Portsmouth in there, and you have the UNH campus in Durham, Dover. And these towns are a bit more, becoming more gentrified compared to the old mill towns of Manchester and Nashua and Salem. But things are changing, and that's why you need to come out and visit, get a feel for the parts of the state that you like, that
Do visit.
resonate with you and your family. And then once you decide where to move, give us a call. I'm in the real estate business, so I love talking with people and telling them about the different areas. We know property management companies, if people are looking for a rental. We do everything we can to make your transition to New Hampshire as easy as possible, help you find a spot to live. There's some active MeWe groups, Facebook groups where you can post your needs if you're looking to rent or purchase. Mm-hmm. And then when you finally decide on a place, we'll help you move in.
Well, this sounds like a good time. Vince, do you have any messages and any questions?
All right. Well, I'm happy to report that we officially got our first super chat, so that's kind of cool.
Hey!
Hooray!
Great
Super
news.
chat.
Yeah, so it was $5 is from this person called Southern Northeast, and the only thing they have to say is move to New Hampshire with
Well,
an exclamation point.
Thank you, Southern Northeast. I
That's
agree
relief.
with you.
I thought we were going to be under pressure with a super chatter, and have a really tough, difficult question. But
I
thank you,
figured
Southern Northeast.
I figured Vince would probably jump up and wave and say, "Yeah, super chat." Come on."
So this is the first time that we've done the super chat on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube right now watching live, go ahead and throw your question in there, and maybe you'll be the second person to ever give us a super chat. We're also streaming live right now on Odyssey, so if you're on Odyssey, you can test that out as well. We have the technology going there, so during your chat, when you type it in there, you can actually tip us some LBC. And then as you guys mentioned earlier, we're on Float, which is FLOTE, and then we're also streaming live on Facebook. So some questions that came in, some of them are a little bit unrelated, but a little bit related. So I guess, Mark, I'll ask you. One of them was, about building related to like zoning and regulations, not, technically about the Welcome Wagon, but maybe kind of housing. So I was wondering if you could chime in about like zoning and regulations in general.
Yeah, sure, and thank you for that question. We do get this quite a bit. What's different about New Hampshire compared to out west, where I'm from, is that here the counties don't mean much. Everything's by either state or municipality, towns and cities. And zoning varies widely from town to town. It's a huge discrepancy. There are about 12 towns in the state that have no zoning at all, no zoning regulation. So you can pretty much build whatever you want on your land, as long as you're so many feet from wetlands and you have an approved septic system, do whatever you want. Compare that to Manchester or Concord or Portsmouth, where you're going to have to go through the whole process of getting planning board approval, zoning approval. You have a building inspector, building department, and that could take several months just to get all the approvals in place. So somebody, the viewer or the questioner really should reach out to somebody in the real estate business, or if he wants to move to a specific town, call on the building department in that town, because it is going to vary widely.
And the next person mentioned Grafton. I guess there's not too much.
Yeah,
zoning
Grafton
there.
is probably the best known among our community and our circles as being the town with no zoning. Mm-hmm. So if you want to build an earth home or a yurt, live in a yurt, or a spaceship house, what are some of these other things we've heard? A hay bale house, go for it. It's a great place to do that.
I guess I just learned this new chat came in from the same person who gave us a super chat and said that they met you and me at Stark Brewing recently. So
yes,
I'm not sure, they don't say their name, but I'll take your word for it.
At an MVP meeting.
Let's see, there was a couple other people that are watching on all of the platforms, but I don't really see anything specific to the Welcome Wagon anymore. But there was one person who mentioned, is there one part of the state where people move to more than others? Like maybe Curt, you can answer that one.
It's not. The population of New Hampshire is very nicely spread out, but Concord, Manchester, Nashua, that central core, it's where most of the work is. It's where the businesses are. And so the most move-ins have been happening in those particular areas, but not for any reason other than that's where the work is. I've helped people move into beautiful little old mill towns. Milton, of all things. It's a beautiful little town, not too far from Manchester, and it has a completely different feel. It doesn't have this, Manchester is a city. It's a city. Milton is not a city. It's a beautiful little town. It's got a small downtown, lots of roads that go up the hillsides because there's just the river where the, I guess, mill used to be there. And it's got a marvelous hometown kind of feel. And I love the variety of these places. Helped some people move into way out in the woods, places you need to go 20 miles down this dirt, well, okay, not 20, but 2 miles down the dirt road to even find the place. And in reality, it's not all that far out. That's one of the things that someone from the West will not understand, just how close together things are on the East Coast.
Yeah, the entire state of New Hampshire could fit in one of the counties out in Nevada
Yes,
or
exactly.
or Texas or Montana.
There, it's like, oh, it's only 6 hours, let's go. Here, 6 hours, you're in Canada.
Well, less than that. What, it maybe 2.5, 3
Two
hours?
and a half, 3 hours, you're in
Yeah,
Canada.
to get to
Yes.
Montreal. Yeah.
So New Hampshire really is a very small state, but it's got such a wonderful variety because it was founded by people where the fastest thing they had was a horse instead of a Honda.
So I guess those are all the questions I have for you guys for now. And if anybody else has any more questions, if you're watching this live, go ahead and throw your questions in the comment section on any platform, wherever you're watching. And guys, if you could, just for some people who are just now tuning in, tell them again, what is the Welcome Wagon? What's it all about? And how does someone activate the Welcome Wagon when they finally get to New Hampshire?
Sure, I'll let Curt give you the contact information, but we were talking earlier about the move-in party. This is a fun Porcupine tradition. When
Yes.
people move here, we have a little flash mob of volunteers help you unload your truck. And we call it move-in party, but that's part of a wider custom called the Welcome Wagon.
Yes.
So besides helping you unload your truck when you move to New Hampshire as a Free State Project participant, there are other activities, social events, where we'll encourage you to attend to meet others in our community. And you'll be amazed at how welcoming they are and how many people have shared interests and speak the same language. For example, every Tuesday night in Manchester, we meet for burgers and beers. You said there were 50, 60 people there last week.
Yep.
Every Sunday night in Nashville, they get together. Every Sunday in Keene, they get together. Every Sunday in Manchester, there's a little crypto group that meets up for dinner. Up in the Upper Valley, once a month, they get together. North Country, at least once a month. The Seacoast has a rotating burgers and beer night.
Yep.
Every Thursday night, they bounce around from Exeter to Dover to Portsmouth to Seabrook.
Oh, the Seabrook restaurant is wonderful.
Oh, yeah. So we always encourage people to go to those, to, again, get your questions answered, try to meet some people, find like-minded folks. So the question the viewers might have is, how do they set up a welcome wagon or a move-in party, and where do they find out about all these other events?
Okay. The Welcome Wagon has a telephone number, if you're old school, 603-263-0308. Email is welcome@fsp.org. And the Free State Project website has contact information if you want to go that way. The Welcome Wagon is set up specifically to get people to know you're coming. And that's the real key, is to let people know you're coming so that we can do something. Advice. Where can I possibly move? That's a question that people have. They don't know New Hampshire has a great variety of locations. Where to move, when to move. Can someone help me with a particular issue? Say someone comes in who needs special accommodations. That is something that Chris Lopez at the Welcome Wagon Contacts can help with. People have needs. People have families. someone shows up with 6 kids or 4 kids, they don't want the kids underfoot while the truck's being unloaded. So someone can help with that. One of the people can go off and say, hey, kids, come on, let's go to the backyard, get you out from underfoot. Or the kids can help.
Those are all good pointers. Another couple of events I forgot to mention that we encourage people to visit before even moving, and then go to these events and get all your questions answered, get a better feel for where you want to move to. But every first Tuesday of the month in Manchester, of course, we have the New Movers Party.
The New Mover Party.
Where we welcome anybody who's fairly new to the state to introduce him or herself, give them a little welcome bag, and announce where you're from. And it's a great opportunity to network with people both professionally and personally.
It's also a potluck, so you're never quite sure what you're going to get.
You won't go away hungry.
No. God,
and
no
I think
food.
some people out on the Seacoast do something similar now.
They do,
I believe
yes.
the Shell or the Swell Private Club has a monthly New Movers Party as well. Again, Seacoast, it's not that far. It's less than an hour from Manchester where we are today.
But it's a completely different set of people.
Yes.
Manchester has a set of people that tend to circulate in the Manchester area. Keene has a set of people that do the same thing around Keene. And it's good because you're meeting people who are local. People who you're going to run into on Tuesday or Saturday or Sunday. And it's a quick way to make new friends.
Absolutely. Same with the market days. There's a monthly market day in Manchester. There's one out at, I believe, at the Praxium, Private Libertarian Club, and
yes.
Human Action Center, Human Action Foundation Club out in, again, the Seacoast area in Dover. And these are all great opportunities for people either visiting or just recently arrived to meet their kindred spirits and to meet people who speak the same language.
Yes. Friends, community. Okay. Any other questions?
Let's see. We had one.
If you want to give it to me.
Sure. So one person. Well, first of all, I did want to mention, thank you guys for doing this. I really appreciate that.
While I've got it in my head, what the heck is it? Liberty.menu?
Liberty.menu.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I can't see myself typing it at the moment, so I wanted to make sure I had the right address for it. Liberty.menu. It's the calendar of events and things going on.
That one is like that's Patrick Bender's website where he's got like a map of the country, I think.
He lists liberty-minded businesses around the country.
Around the country, okay.
Yeah,
then I've got the wrong one in mind.
That's okay. The calendar is fsp.org/calendar.
Oh, there you go.
And
So
you
many
can
things.
it's okay. You can see there's about 500 different events happening all over the state at any given time. So of course, PorcFest is going to sell out here very, very soon. I believe they're going to cap it at like 2,500 tickets.
Wow, that's
which we're almost there. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got my ticket.
well, good for you for
I saw
getting it early enough.
I saw the guest list. I said, this is just too good to
it's
miss.
an impressive lineup this
Yes.
year.
Definitely. So if you miss PorcFest, you can go to the calendar, fsp.org/calendar, and pick a different time to visit New Hampshire, because you may have missed out on PorcFest, and there's no getting in after that. So I did want to say thank you to both of you guys for doing this. I know that you take time out of your day. Both of you took time out of your day to answer questions from people and to talk about a thing that you're very passionate about. I know, Curt, you're extremely passionate about this thing. I know I've asked Curt this question a dozen times before, but if you had to estimate, how many people have you helped move in to New Hampshire?
100, probably.
100.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's really good.
When I'm driving around with my kids, I will say things like, I helped someone move into that building. I know where those apartments are. And
you've been all 4 corners of the state as well, all around.
I have not been north of Berlin.
Okay.
That is the one place I haven't been.
There are more moose than people up there, so you may never go up there.
I've never moved a moose. But I've been from Spring Hill, north of the mountains, down to the seacoast, so close that I had to worry about whether or not I was going to step into Massachusetts.
Okay.
I normally open carry, and stepping into Massachusetts is not a smart thing to do. So I realized, do not cross that street right there. So I help people move into apartment there. And of course, Keene is the beautiful wooded area out there. It's fun. It's just plain fun. It's a great thing to do.
I also have caught myself where, I've helped maybe not as many as you, probably more like in the 5 to 7 range, people that move in. And, whenever I drive past somewhere where I've moved, I've helped somebody move in there. So it's kind of a fun thing when you drive past somewhere. It gives you like that, like a very warm feeling, that I still feel months or years later. I remember I helped somebody move in there.
Yes.
So I did want to say, thank you to you guys for coming out today and helping. Someone had a unique question, something about like, is there a housing co-op program? I guess what they're trying to say is like, we used to have the
Pork Manor.
Yeah, there was a Pork Manor, but I think that's not around anymore, right?
It comes and goes.
Right. Do you have, as far as you guys know, are there any like housing opportunities for people where maybe somebody can get a room in a place?
I don't know of any at this time that are active.
Mm-hmm.
Occasionally someone who has money, do people have money, will get an apartment building or something, and for a while it will be open to individual rooms being rented out. Then they tend to fill up. Mm-hmm. And so it comes and goes.
Yeah, we have a very tight housing market right now in New Hampshire. The occupancy rates of rentals are at about 99%.
Wow.
A couple pointers are, one is post on the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's FSP Housing Group. Mm-hmm. And you can crowdsource some options there. Often I'll see people who are looking for a roommate, for example. Mm-hmm. That's a good option. Mm-hmm. And if you reach out to the Welcome Wagon, we know landlords and Airbnb owners in New Hampshire that love to work with Free State Project movers, and we'll give you, put you in front of the line. Mm-hmm. So reach out to us. Don't be silent. We'll do our best to try to help you land a place.
It's amazing that freedom-loving people tend to be a bit responsible.
Yeah.
We even have some property management companies and landlords that accept Bitcoin for rent payment.
That's right. Yeah. I've had plenty of my friends that have paid their rent in crypto, so that does happen here. We don't just talk about it; we actually, make it happen. I wanted to build upon what you said, Mark, and I would say if someone's looking for a room, the Facebook group you mentioned. Mm-hmm. If people are on Discord, we have a Discord group. I have a Reddit group. Let's see, I suppose you could comment on, Float or something. But basically, if you just go to fsp.org/connect, and you'll see all the links to all of our groups right there. So just visit fsp.org/connect, and you can start connecting with Free Staters immediately today. Another question was specifically around moving someone from abroad. As far as you guys know, has the Welcome Wagon helped anyone move from abroad, and is there anything special about that experience?
I know the FSP website has resources, has pointers at least to where to get resources for moving internationally, but it's not a common thing. It doesn't happen every day. Mm-hmm. We have a few people, definitely, very happy to meet them when they get here. Canadians, Germans, Russians, Ukrainians. We've got a bunch.
No, it's really no difference.
Swede.
As long as they have a place to move into, we'll help them unload. Mm-hmm. We can't help with immigration. That's a federal thing. That's very difficult. We encourage people who are libertarian-minded, love the idea of Free State Project, to at least visit here on a tourist visa. Mm-hmm. Yes. I believe you can stay for up to 6 months if you're from most countries. Come here, get to meet as many people as you can, do some networking, look at job opportunities.
Go to PorcFest.
Yeah. And then, once you fall in love, you'll be even more motivated to either buy a business or find some H-1 visa to get out here.
And I'll add, while we can't help someone immigrate, we can help you. We have the blueprint. We have all the answers for you already. So if you go to fsp.org/immigrate, you can see we've actually spelled out everything for you there. Step 1, step 2, step 3. So, and then after you get the green card, a whole bunch of different ways to do that. Then there's next step after that. If you want the citizenship, you can do that. So all of that information and more. There's actually links to. There's an FSP Facebook group related to immigration help, and then even free information where people can get not a free immigration lawyer, but ways for you to get assistance. So if you visit fsp.org/immigrate, you can learn more about that. And then, guys, I'll let you continue if you have some more things you want to talk about. And if you have any other questions about the Welcome Wagon after today, just email Chris. So it's welcome@fsp.org, or you can give us a phone call. So it's 603-263-0308, and we can help activate the Welcome Wagon and bring people like these guys to help you unload your moving truck, and then also connect you with the community. So maybe you guys can talk for a few minutes about that. Like, other than just helping people unload their moving truck, like what else do they get when they get connected? Maybe somebody wants to get connected to politics. Okay, I'm into political activism. Okay, then what? Then you move to a certain part of the state and they'll connect you to people, or you're into crypto, or you're into homeschooling. So maybe you can talk about some other benefits of the Welcome Wagon.
Those are good ideas. I'll talk about politics. If you want to talk about gun ranges, you can do that. I am a legislator. I'm a state representative, serving my 4th term, and I'm part of a PAC. What we do is identify, recruit, and train pro-liberty people to run for office, in particular the state legislature. So this is something I've been doing for a number of years, and it's a passion of mine. And we try to identify people as they're moving in, if they're interested in politics at all. Sometimes they're sort of agnostic about it, but we point out that it's easy to get elected at the local level, particularly in these small towns. Often just by showing up, they'll ask you to join a planning board or a school board or the budget committee. It's a great opportunity to finally walk the walk after talking the talk for so many years about smaller government, lower taxes, less regulation, more individual liberty.
And it's easy. Not just to get elected in the small, at the town level. They're desperate for people to be interested and involved. They're not zoning board. God, I would avoid the zoning board because they wouldn't want to listen to me go on. But the school boards, budgets, planning, these things, they need interested people, and interested liberty people can make the biggest impact in those little ways at the local level. So moving to a small town has great benefits for that sort of engagement in the community.
Absolutely. I get a lot of phone calls being a real estate broker about that. They say, hey, Mark, where should I move that I maybe have the best chance of being elected in the future? So we look at the political map, the voter registrations, tax rates. And I'm always happy to have that discussion and encourage people to get involved at the local level.
What you mentioned about tax rates, that's another thing that varies tremendously from municipality to municipality. Most taxes in New Hampshire are at the city level, or town level, I guess I should say. And there are some towns that are just so open and I can't say unpopulated, but with such a population that simply don't want to be bothered. No zoning, very low taxes, and it's out in the woods where you can truly go and say, no thank you, I'm just going to live my life.
Just be left alone.
Just be left alone.
I have some links on my website to list of towns with no zoning and list of towns by tax rate. So those are all good and important discussions to have.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Thanks for that plug.
Truly, the resources, we each contribute how we can, being a bunch of rabid individualists. So Mr. Warden, with his real estate business, has good reason to provide resources for people to make such a move, to want to come here. I just show up for the pizza.
Well, I know you're a strong supporter of the Second Amendment.
Yes.
And maybe you can touch on that briefly. If people come here and they want to practice, can they shoot on their own property? Are there pistol and rifle ranges, indoor, outdoor, gun clubs, fish and game clubs? Are you aware of these?
Yes. That's the short answer. New Hampshire has the most tolerant gun policies of any state I've lived in. Even Vermont's getting weird now with the way life is going. But New Hampshire has loosened up everything. There are no licensing requirements. There are no restrictions more detailed than the federal restrictions.
Correct.
So as long as you follow the federal laws concerning NFA items or transportation, in a locked case separate from the ammunition, not available to the driver.
And not being a convicted felon.
And not being a convicted felon. You can pretty much own anything and go anywhere in the state. If you own a piece of property that has more than 300 feet to the nearest occupied dwelling, you can set up a range on your property. There are indoor ranges in the more populated areas like Manchester and Portsmouth and Dover, Nashua. Outdoor ranges, I knew of one, but someone abused it. Someone didn't clean up after themselves and it closed.
But there are a lot of fish and game
Yes.
membership organizations that
There are
have
lots
outdoor
of membership,
ranges.
yes.
Some of them are up to 1,000 yards.
Yes.
Or something. And there's a good one in Raymond. Pelham has a nice gun club.
I'm trying to remember the one south of Manchester.
Londonderry Fish and Game.
Londonderry, that's
near
the
here.
famous one.
Yeah, Goffstown and Ware have a nice one, and there are several up north as well.
Membership driven, I believe. So you've got everything from Wilson Hill, which is a small building with a pistol range in it, up to Londonderry, which is professional,
Yes.
to put it politely. They know exactly what they're doing. You can shoot anything there.
Right.
I did not go to one of their machine gun fundraisers because I was working, but that would have been a blast. Let me rephrase that. That would have been fun. I seriously would have enjoyed that.
And we don't need to go too deep into politics today, but this is all part of the Welcome Wagon.
Yes.
We'd like to know what your interests are, what your hot buttons are, what things float your boat. There are many reasons to move to New Hampshire, whether it's taxes, guns, homeschooling, just great schools, even government schools overall. Some people are looking for cannabis freedom. Some people are looking for business freedom, licensure restrictions that are fairly lax. And that's the idea of a Welcome Wagon. We try to crowdsource as much of this information for you to answer the questions that you have. And with all of our cumulative experience and years of knowledge, we try to make it as easy as possible for you to make the transition to New Hampshire.
The odds are very good that a new mover's interests will match up with someone who's already here. And all you have to do is ask. We are more than happy to bring you in, to move you in, to have you come to the New Movers Party or Taproom Tuesday or the Seacoast Tuesday or Thursday, or all of them. Join in because the community is really what makes the difference.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Any other questions?
No, if you guys want to, wrap it up and let people know how to contact us again.
Okay. We are the Free State Welcome Wagon at welcome@fsp.org, 603-263-0308. We are here. We want you to be here. Come in. Welcome to New Hampshire. Join us as we bring, liberty in our lifetime.
What a great saying. And follow up with the calendar,
Yes.
FSP, Free State Project, fsp.org/calendar, has a list of all the events and activities. There are more than you can possibly attend
No, you can't go to all
any
of them.
given week. There's a lot going on. People would love to meet people from out of state, answer your questions, encourage you to make the move, make it as easy as possible for you. And we also look forward to seeing you at our various events, Porcupine Freedom Festival last week of June, Liberty Forum in the future, other regional events, and as well as online at MeWe and Facebook.